name is Barbara Ferris Blinn. I am the founder of Be Aware, and I've also started the organization Silent Generation Angels. Be Aware was for educating predators and pedophiles, and I have 20 years experience in going after predators and pedophiles. I've worked with the Orange County Sheriff's Department in Orlando, Florida, along with other agents throughout the state of Florida. I kind of retired after the death of a young child in Jacksonville, which I also helped cover that story. I've been on Jane Mitchell Velez, a lot of networks, which I will attach a video on the Saving Mr. Brouwer's website so you can get to know me. That being said, it's not about me. This is about Mr. Brouwer. Mr. Brouwer is a 93-year-old veteran. He served as a firefighter for over 30 years and retired. After he retired, he got into real estate. He's a self-made millionaire. At the age of 90, I believe at the age of 87, he met Martha Bird. At the age of 90, Martha Bird rented from him and became very friendly and nice. And Mr. Brouwer was kind of a lone guy from what we've gathered in interviews. And she just started talking to him all the time and associating and working with him, I guess, and getting money here and there because she claimed she had cancer. When she became his tenant, she was supposed to pay rent. Well, then she said she had cancer and needed help going to the doctors and paying doctors and borrowing money. Well, she claimed that she had this art picture that was worth $800,000, and she gave it to Mr. Brouwer for all the money, which we found the art picture was a fraud. To get to the story of Mr. Brouwer, why are we trying to raise $350,000 for Mr. Brouwer? Mr. Brouwer now has a debt due to insurance. Martha Bird took Mr. Brouwer to Enterprise, Alabama, after having someone from the state of Oregon that was actually phony appear to Mr. Brouwer's home. She shows up and told Mr. Brouwer that the family was going to place him in a nursing facility and take away his money, and that the only way that he could prevent that from happening is to get married. Martha Bird conveniently at this time was there and says, "Oh, I'll marry you. You've been so nice to me, and I'll marry you and make sure everything's taken care of for you." So a couple weeks after they get supposedly married, we know they did a marriage certificate, but we don't know if it ever was actually filed, so we have to find that out. One reason we're here in Portland. She then took Mr. Brouwer to Enterprise, Alabama, claiming that her father had died and that she inherited all this money. So she took Mr. Brouwer to Coffee Springs, Alabama, Geneva, Alabama, actually. When she got him there, she checked him into a hotel called Briarwood Inn. She left him there for a month. She said, "Well, I can't get the inheritance because I have to go back. I forgot some stuff in Portland. Can you wait here for me? I'll be back in a couple days." She shows back up a month later. What she did was come to back to Portland and sold Mr. Brouwer's father's home. Let me say that one more time. She sold a 93-year-old man's father's home, a home he had when his father died. When she sold this home, they tore it down, so there's no recovering it. I just want that to be noted. Then she flew back to Enterprise with her supposed inheritance, which was actually Mr. Brouwer's money, and bought a house for $277,000 as a single woman, Miss Martha Bird, not even putting Mr. Brouwer's name on it. But, she supposedly got an inheritance, and she supposedly had all this money. Come to find out that was all false, fraud. It was all fake. So then, she took Mr. Brouwer and said, "Can you watch my house?" And of course, Mr. Brouwer, you gotta remember, Mr. Brouwer's 93. He's not an ignorant man by no means. He's just a very, he's never encountered someone such as Martha Bird. Martha Bird has 2 prior victims to Mr. Brouwer, so she's very experienced in what she does. Mr. Brouwer, on the other hand, was just a very honest, genuine, caring person who believed everything Martha said. So when he was put into the house, she left again and pretty much stayed gone quite a bit of time. And when she arrived, and this is after they were in a motel for a month, she came back to Portland to sell more of his real estate. Then she flew back to Mr. Brouwer. I believe she received a check in the amount of $240,000 on an investment, and she, I guess, couldn't cash it, so she had to take it to Mr. Brouwer. Mr. Brouwer then puts that money in the bank, and Martha, once again, takes $160,000 and splits back to Portland. She's now taken possession of the only thing that Mr. Brouwer has left, because at this point, she's already sold everything. When she went, I'm sorry, I need to back up a little bit. When she went back to Mr. Brouwer and placed her in her home, she told Mr. Brouwer, well, you can't go back right now. One of the tenants that used to live for you has filed a lawsuit against you and is pressing charges against you, and there's a warrant for your arrest. But if you give me a power of attorney, I will go back to Portland and take care of it so you can go home. Guess what? That never happened. She left Mr. Brouwer in Portland for 3 years as she came back and embezzled everything he had, stole credit cards, put credit cards in his name, destroyed his credit, ran up his Home Depot, got larger credit limits, took all the money out of his Advantage bank account, took money out of his Wells Fargo, and pretty much left him with nothing. All he does receive, now grant this, Mr. Brouwer gets $4,000 a month from working as a firefighter. He achieves, but he was making close to $16,000 a month with all his renters and all his properties, and he was established to living on a $16,000 a month salary to now living at a $4,000 a month salary. Mr. Brouwer's about to lose his $4,000 a month salary because IRS is getting ready to garnish his check because she sold all his properties and now didn't pay no taxes, and the taxes are owed for the profit it shows he made that he didn't ever make. He never made any profit. She took all the money. So now we actually have the FBI involved. You can Google Martha Byrd arrested, Enterprise, Alabama, Coffee Springs, for extortion. Now they have the extortion at $250,000 because we're still working on how much she actually stole, which we believe is over $2 million. Because several of the properties that she sold was over $500,000, $400,000, $300,000 or $500,000, and then she put his houseboat up, which is the last thing he has left for sale, and it hasn't sold because the mortgage wouldn't allow her to sell it based on water rights. So we have now come to Portland due to her not paying the fees at the mortgage, where Mr. Brouwer has lived for 75 years. Mr. Brouwer has lived here, I'm going to say it one more time so you can understand. He's lived here 75 years. I'm going to be posting some images and you can watch as these people went into his house and took out all his furniture. Sold everything this man had, down to his furniture. They didn't just empty his bank accounts. They even took his furniture. They took his father's home, had it tore down, and sold it for profit. And they took everything. And this man is now 93, and they garnish his check, and he wants to sell the house because he feels panicked. The last thing he has left that she has her name on, that I have to come up here to Portland and fight for her name to be removed. So if we don't do something, and if people can't help Mr. Brouwer, I do believe the effect of this is going to cost, I think he could be here another 8-10 years. Believe it or not, if you was to meet Mr. Brouwer, which I'm going to start showing you videos when I get back to Alabama so you can meet this man, because he's great. He walks, he talks, he mows, he cuts down trees. He does so much for a 93-year-old man. I think that's why he's 93, because I ask him, I say, whatever you're doing, I need to do, because I would like to be 93 and getting around as good as you. So, I am truly upset about how I have seen this case go. And I've seen a lot happen to kids, but never did I realize the elderly was facing such abuse. So I'm starting this organization from rock bottom, and I don't care, because I will beat every door down and I will do whatever it takes to make sure Mr. Brouwer is okay, and that he doesn't sell the last thing he has. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.